The first video in the React Native animation series. In this video, I'm going to talk about the very basics of animations in React Native. So I believe that most of you would know what is an animation. Uh, le- so animation is anything which provide visual feedback to the user actions. Like for example, take this button. This is a very basic example of animation. When I try to click on this, the opacity first increases and then come back to normal. So it provides a visual feedback to me that I am clicking a button, right? So that is what animations is used for, and this is a very basic type of animation that is provided by touchable opacity component. But today also we are going to understand the very basics of animations. So let's go ahead to try to understand the basic animations in React Native library itself, and then when we have a basic understanding of the animations in React Native library, then we will move ahead to the third party animation library, that is React Native Reanimated. So firstly, let's understand the animations in React Native itself. In this video, I will primarily focus on three types of animations provided by React Native. Basically, these three are animated.timing, animated.spring, and animated.decay. So we will try to understand what these three animations are. So for understanding this, let's take a simple example of fading. Okay, we will try to uh, animate a button or a text by using the fading animation. So basically its opacity will first decrease and then we can increase it through animation. I have added a basic text here for our animation to start. So whenever I click on this fade button, our fading animation will start on a selected component. So first let's define the component const, and let's name it since you are using a fading animation, so let's name it fade view. I've already created some styles for this so that we don't have to take time while I am styling, right? Okay, and let's declare it, and I will have some children inside it, children, and a fade animation constant, and so basically firstly you have to define the initial value of the animation, initial value of any property that you want to animate. Okay, so firstly I will declare it like this: use ref new animated dot sorry, new animated dot val why am I not seeing this? Okay, it is from not it should be from React Native, right? New animated dot value, and it is 0 dot current. So it will be so this is the property, initial property of the of any property that we want to animate. Let's declare our animation component. So whatever you want to animate, you have to wrap it inside the animated.view. Okay, and basically in animated.view you have to pass some styles. You will obviously pass some styles, right? So let's say I will pass sorry, styles dot fade container. Okay, so basically what you have to do, I will, okay, sorry, I will do it like this also already. And since I want to play around with opacity, fading is related to opacity, right? So I will pass the property to fade anim. So basically it is telling this animated.view that I want to play along with this opacity and its initial value should be 0. Okay, and inside this I will have my inside any component that is wrapped on top of it. Okay, and then what do we do? How do we animate? Here comes the tricky part. So basically there are three animations. as I said earlier. So firstly I will use Animated.timing. So basically it is the simplest form of animation. So it expects two values, two parameters. First one is value and second one is config. So in the first value we will pass fade anim, and in the config we will pass two values. So basically it is telling when or what would be the value after the animation. So after the animation is completed, the values would be 1. So basically it will transition from 0 to 1. So opacity will transition from 0 to 1 during the animation. Second parameter I will pass is duration. What is the duration of the animation? And thirdly I will pass use native driver to true. So basically this tells that we don't have to run our animation on the JavaScript thread because it may be busy. So it will use the native thread for rendering the animations. Okay, and dependency I will pass fade anim. Okay, all good. Okay, so now I will use this fade view just below here. Okay, let's define it here. Where should I define it? Let's define it below this, right? I will name a fade view, and inside it let's say I have a text, and in text I will, what should I write? Fade animation example. Looks good. And why is it missing type? That should not be an issue initially. Okay, I will tell you what I am doing it here. Why have I declared this fade animation property? First let's understand the basic. So it should work, right? Okay, let's reload it. Oh, let's see. Let's reload it. Okay, I'm not able to see the animation. I don't know why it's happening. Okay, sorry. So after defining it, you have to start it as well. Animation dot start. Now it should reflect. Okay, okay. Let's reload it. It's working, right? So basically what it is, whenever the screen is reloaded, the animation starts and the opacity increases gradually from 0 to 1 in 2 seconds of time. Okay, currently this button is doing nothing. Okay, so let's add functionality to this button as well, and that is why I have added this fade animation property here. Okay, so let's declare a use state constant fade animation and set fade animation equals to use state. Initial value I am keeping it as 0, and I will pass this fade animation to the fade animation. Okay, and there I have declared a on press. So in the on press I will set the value of this fade animation property. I will increment it by 1, previous plus 1. So I will tell you why I am doing this. So fade animation and this property, so I will run it only when our fade animation is greater than 0. If it is equal to 0, I will not run the animation. Okay, and fade animation, when the fade animation is even, its value should be 0, it's changed to 0, and when it's odd, it should be 1. And I need to add this here as well. Okay, and let's change it to 1. Let's reload it. Okay, so let me walk you through what have I done. Okay, so I have declared a fade animation counter here. So basically, whenever every time I press on this button, the value will increase from uh, 0 to 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. Okay, so initially when the component will render, its value will be 0. So as you can see, let me reload it. When the component is rendered, its value is 0. So since the value is 0, I have not touched it already, so I will go into the fade view. What is the initial value of the fade anim? It is 1, means the opacity, initial opacity is 1. Okay, and this use effect will not run since the property of fade animation is 0. Okay, so when it is firstly it will not run. So when I press again, so when I press the first time, the fade animation increases by 1. The value of fade animation increases by 1. So when it increases by 1, so basically this is what an odd number look like, right? So when it is 1, I will decrease the value to 0, and when it is even, I will when it is even, I will declare the I will set the value to 0, and when it is odd, I will to 1. Okay, so basically for odd I am setting it to 0, and for even I am setting it to 1, and initially it is 1 itself. So basically what happens, like whenever I click on this, there is a continuous animation whenever I click on this. Okay, so this is the simplest form of animation that I have shown you. Nextly, let's see if I can use spring here. And in spring you can't have duration actually, so there are other properties like let's say bounciness to 0. Let's see what happens. So you will not understand the spring with this example, I guess. Let's see what are the properties provided by spring. In the config, there are velocity, speed, friction, stiffness. Let's say velocity is 1, stiffness is 2. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's giving me error. Okay, you are basically telling me that you cannot define one of the bounciness or speed or tension or thickness. Okay, again you can define bounciness or speed, tension, stiffness, damping mass. Okay, so I can declare only one of these. That should be good. Okay, so basically it is making our animation very slow. Okay, so uh, keep it aside. I will give you an example of spring with a different example. All right. So basically, to understand spring animation, it is better to use a different component and a different property. So in opacity, you will not be able to understand how the spring animation is working. So let's declare another one. Let's say I create a component here. Okay, and when I click on a button, it moves from one position to a different position of using animation. So let's declare it since I'm using move view, and most of this would be same, I guess. So I'm just copy pasting it. Okay, okay, and next then I will need its children, and let's name it move animation. That should be a good name, right? Move animation. I will do I need this one? I don't think so. No, let's say move animation. Okay, no, I need this one, I guess. To value, I need this one. Let's, okay, let's declare it and see what happens next. And name it move anim. I'll change it to move anim. This should be move animation. Okay, move anim. I don't need this opacity now. Alright, so there are no errors, right? Okay, so let's declare its style to move container, and I will move this block from one position to another position, right? So what I will do, I will transform and I will move it in x direction. So so if you are moving it in x direction, you provide translate x, and in the translate x I will pass my move any value. Okay, so I'm currently setting it to 0. Okay, and everything is fine. Okay, so when I first click on this should be 0, and when I second time click, the move animation value increases from 1. So when it is odd, I want the value to update to 100. No, let's say 200. And when I press it again, and for the for the even case it should be 0. Okay, and let's declare our move view. Inside the move view, I want to have a text, and what should I name the text? Let's name it move animation example, right? And let's declare a use state for this one as well, move animation, and set move animation similar to the fade animation. Okay, and I will pass this move animation value to move animation. And one more thing, what do I need? Yeah, I need to declare a touchable opacity as well. Loggers animate button pressed, and I will set move animation to this and change the text move. Okay, let's reload it. Let's see how it looks. I click on move. Okay, it's translating in x direction. Sorry, it's going out of screen. Let's do it in y direction. Let's do it in y direction. Translate y. And let's reload it. Since I have set initial position to 0, it should start from top. Yeah, okay. So when I click on move, it moves in the y direction, right? So what is happening here? For the first time, for the second time, so in the second time, move animation value is changed from 0 to 1. So it is an odd number. So when it is odd, its value should update to 200. Okay, so from 0 to 200. So initially the y coordinate is 0, and when I after 200 it is moving down. Okay, so when I click again, it should move to the top. Sorry, I pressed twice actually. Okay, so this is the basic example of animated or timing, and that is why I have created this move example, that because I wanted to show you the spring example. Okay, so I will remove it, and I will not pass, let's say, any value. So I will show you what happens. Can you see this bounciness? So this is what is provided by spring example. So whenever you kind of bouncy kind of effect, yeah, you use spring animation. Okay, so let's add some property here. Let's say I declare speed as 1. So what will happen? Can you see? Okay, let's say let it be 10. So when I do it 10, right? So this is what spring look like. Okay. So basically, and similarly, you can go ahead with the decay type of animation as well, animation.decay. I'm not to use the decay animation in my projects currently, but yeah, you can use that using the similar pattern as well. You can use the animation.decay as well. So yeah, and so if you want to so basically if you want the code, I will attach it in my I've uploaded it in my GitHub repository, so you can, if you want, you can go ahead with the repo and you can try different animations in that repo as well. So basically these are simple animations. So in the next video we will try to understand the combination of animation. So basically here I have talked only about the simple animation and animation which is happening only once. So basically in next video I will use a combination of animations. So basically, let's say when I click on this button, it will fade also and it will move also. So basically when I click on it, its opacity increases from 0 to 1, and simultaneously it will move to uh, y direction. So basically combination of animations and how the combination of animations work in React Native. So we will talk about that in the next video. So okay, so all right, thank you everyone for watching.